Hey guys, so for this video I'll be reviewing Katy Perry's newest album, Witness. I'm a big fan of Katy. I would say I'm a Katy cat. So had bought all of her previous albums, so I really enjoy listening to her music. So in no way I'm trying to, hate on her or, be negative, but don't take it as anything offensive because I love Katy, and you can even check throughout my channel that I have unboxed some of her albums, well, all her albums. Other than that, let's just get started. I'll just look at the track list and make some commentary on what songs I liked or what I think of each specific song. I'm not going to play the songs because, I just want to avoid copyright issues, and you can just hear the songs yourselves. So let's zoom in a bit closer and let's see. Okay, so the first track is Witness. Obviously, it's a good introduction to the album. I would say this album as a whole is very dance pop, and she did talk about wanting to do a dance pop album. So this is completely different than what she has done before. Okay, so we start with Witness, and that's just a good introduction to what the album is going to sound like. She wants you to witness, her journey towards towards the last 4 years of her life, basically. It's a decent song. I wouldn't say it should be a single. It has some very strange sounds, which are really interesting, but I really enjoy the song regardless. I think it's very original. You don't get to hear that much that type of sounds in music at the moment, so that's why I would say maybe the singles have not done so well, because a lot of the songs in pop radio right now are sounding a bit too similar, so that there's like a specific sound like dance hall or very extremely electronic. And obviously this album is not the same as the current sound. So I like the fact that she didn't just make an album for commercial purposes, but she took her own direction. And then Hey Hey Hey, that song is like talking about how, she's, even though she can be really feminine, she can also be a boss. So I like the message behind the song. Maybe this could be a single or a promotional track, but it's definitely not a standout in the album. I feel like it was lacking a bit of in the chorus, like the hey, 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 like it just wasn't all that, I would say, strong, but regardless, it's something I wouldn't skip. It's a decent track, but it's not the usual Katy Perry you would expect. And then the third track, that's when it starts getting good. So Roulette is probably my favorite song in this whole album. I love the instrumental, the sounds. It sounds very 80s. And I can just hear this being played at a club. I do hope it becomes a single. I don't know if it will be because it is so different than what the radio's playing at the moment, so I don't know if she will take the risk on making Roulette a single, but definitely the best song, in my opinion, in Witness. It's extremely catchy, and I love the verses. It's just really, really good. And then fourth, Swish Swish, which is probably the most controversial track in here. It is obviously directed towards Taylor and her haters, so I do like the fact that she responded back to Katy, even though it's been like 3 years since Katy released 1989, but obviously Katy's not going to release an album just to do a response to Taylor. So even though those people are saying, oh, it's been like 4 years or 3 years already, it's good to hear a response from Katy, because she has the right to have a response to Bad Blood. I really like this song. You can really dance to it. Nicki's verse is a great addition to it. I think that's one of the featurings that really just made sense. because right now Nikki is also in a feud, so it's really good to add her to Swish Swish. Of course, I like the digs that she pulls throughout the song, and she alludes to previous comments that she has made or Taylor has made, and you can catch them here and there. And then, for example, like Killer Queen reminds me of her perfume line, so that's another, like, there's little details that if you're like a fan of Katy, you would understand. And yeah, so this is a really nice song regardless. And I like the fact that she's not afraid of responding to people who interview her regarding the whole issue. Because Taylor has stayed relatively extremely quiet about it. And, Katy just wants to end things. I don't think she means any harm. And hopefully they do end things soon, and maybe we can get a collaboration after this whole mess, but you never know. Okay, so next we have Deja Vu, which I think is probably one of the favorites at the moment. It's an okay song. No, it's a pretty catchy song, but this is when it starts sounding a bit the same. So Deja Vu, very catchy, and then we move on to Power. Power is probably my least favorite song in here. I would definitely not include it in the album. I can listen to it, but it's the only skip for me on Witness, because it sounds a bit similar to Deja Vu, and it's just, I don't know, it has a good message, but I don't think it's that catchy, or it just doesn't do much for me. And then we move on to Mind Maze. She talked about this, like her own journey and her life, trying to make the right choices, etc. I don't like the auto-tune in it. I know, like, it serves the purpose of the song, but I could have done without the auto-tune. So if she ever performs this live, I'll probably just listen to a live version of it without the auto-tune, because I don't think it bothers me for some reason hearing it. But regardless, the song it's okay. But this with Deja Vu, Power, and Mind Maze, it started sounding a bit the same. Then we get to Miss You More, which is like the ballad, one of the ballads in the album. It's not my favorite ballad from Katy or in the album, but I could listen to it. It's really sweet that she's like, I miss you more than I loved you. Just your classic Katy ballad. You really get to see a part of her life, or a moment in her life. And I think a lot of people can relate to the song. So I'm glad that she at least included some ballads in here. Then Chained to the Rhythm, which was the lead single for the album. Again, like Swish Swish and Chained to the Rhythm, those are probably like the bangers of the album, which in terms of singles that she has picked from the album, I really, really like the choices that either her or her label picked for to be released before as singles. Chained to the Rhythm has a really good message. The video is incredible. Katy's on a roll with music videos this year. I love the message, and it's a continuation of Skip Marley's Lions, who he raps in the song, but he previously had released the song Lions, and this is just a continuation of the meaning of the song. So if maybe you haven't heard of the song, listen to it, because he makes some connections in his rap, and it just makes sense about, society nowadays. So Chained to the Rhythm was a success, and although it didn't hit number one, it's the first time Katy did not hit number one with a lead single, but she really took a risk. I think she didn't really care about hitting number one with this record. She just wanted to do her own thing, because this whole album just doesn't have those type of, huge bangers like Teenage Dream, Firework, E.T., Dark Horse, Roar. It just doesn't have that type of songs, but it's extremely cohesive. And then we have Tsunami, which maybe if you just if you don't pay attention to the lyrics, you might just think like, oh, she's talking about tsunamis. But this is a really sexual song. Um, just read between the lines, and she's basically saying that her lover's causing a tsunami inside her. But yeah, I guess you can really understand what she's talking about. So I like the how she can make some, sexy songs still. And I know she's getting a lot of hate with her being very sexy in Bon Appetit, which I'll later talk about. But she has made these type of songs before. So like if you look back at, well, obviously I Kissed the Girl, that's controversial. And then we had in Teenage Dream, you have Hummingbird Heartbeat, which is talking about sex. And then Peacock, where she's like wanting to see a guy's, So I don't get why people are judging. If you're not a Katy cat, I guess, but if you're saying that she's completely changed, she has made those type of songs before. But so Tsunami is in those sexy type of songs, and I enjoy having that sexy side of Katy in here. And then we move on with Bon Appetit, which I think is a good transition because it's still very sexy. Bon Appetit, one of my favorite songs in the album. I know it did not chart well, and I don't know why, but I still really enjoy the song. The video is pure perfection. The lyrics are very clever. I really enjoy that song. I think it deserves more than it has gotten. I think it deserves at least to be in top 10 or top 20, but I think maybe it's because it's like basically her only single that's been like extremely sexual. Maybe that's why, but I don't know. Regardless, Bon Appetit is a jam, and I'm glad even though it kind of flopped, it got a video, and the video is incredible. And then we got Bigger Than Me, another of my favorite tracks in here. She's just trying to say like there's something inside that is telling her to, keep going, and, there's something bigger than her and bigger purpose for her and the world. And, everyone can relate to that. I think it's like sometimes you don't feel like, you have a lot of drive, but sometimes you're too afraid to pursue whatever you want to do. So I like that song, and it's very catchy. So that's another, and a line that I like is like, she goes, it's like a robot taking up oxygen. So you can really tell that this album is a reflection on society as well. If you look within the lyrics, this whole album is probably her most cohesive album, because it's just not randomly pop bangers. It has a purpose. So it's very experimental for her, because even the songs sound a bit similar, but it's still a good album. And then Save As Draft, which is another ballad in the album. This one did not really catch my eye that much. But again, classic Katy ballad I probably will listen to when I feel like upset or something like that. But decent track, I think everyone could relate to. Then Pendulum. I like how she added a choir on the background vocals at certain parts of the song, so that was nice. But good track. I don't really have to say much about Pendulum. I actually did not expect for it to be as good, because I heard the previews that she had on Snapchat, and I was like, okay, this song is, I don't know how this is going to sound like, but I didn't put it into my top favorites. And then lastly, for the regular edition, the 15th track is Into You See Me, the best ballad out of the three. I think it's just beautifully written. It's like, it reminds me a lot of Pearl, which was on Teenage Dream, and it's one of my favorite Katy ballads that she has released. It's, when someone sees something that you don't see in yourself, and, obviously everyone wants to find the type of person that loves you for who you truly are and what you don't really see within. So that's probably the ballad I would recommend to check out. And then for the bonus tracks, you have Dance with the Devil, which goes back to that dancey vibe that it had, with like this beginning of the album. I think I would have removed, let's see, I would have removed Power and put Dance with the Devil as and like a official track for the regular version of the album. It's very catchy, nothing to really say. And then finally, Act My Age, the last track for the bonus tracks. This one's like very classic Katy Perry type of song, so I'm glad she included it. And basically to end Witness, she talks about, even though she's a bit older, she can still, be silly. And I think a lot of people, once you grow older, you feel more afraid to, be a little bit more goofy or silly, etc. And when you see Katy behind the scenes or on interviews, she's being a bit more loose, and so she's not being so conscious of her age, and you can tell that with this song. So I guess whenever you feel like, screw society, or when you're feeling older and you're like, I shouldn't enjoy this, but it's just, age is just a number, and that's what she's just talking about. Like you can still have fun and just ignore about the society's judgment if you want to just be silly, I guess. So that's what she's talking about. And actually I like that fact that this is included in the album, because in some of her newer interviews, she's being a lot on her new interview, she's being very loose. And even with the Witness live stream, you really sensing that she's opening up more, and she's being very silly and whatnot. So if you're a fan, you can really relate to her. Or I just enjoy the fact that she has a song that really represents, her personality. So other than that, I think this is a solid release. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Katy Perry album. It's too difficult to beat Teenage Dream, because even though the album is not very cohesive, it's just filled with extremely good songs. Not that this one doesn't have very good songs, but this was more mellow. I would rank this as her third best album, because Prism and Teenage Dream are neck and neck, because it's just songs that are like, it's just extreme pop perfection for decades to come. And for this one, I would say that for singles, I would like Roulette to be a single, Bigger Than Me, Into You See Me, let's see, Deja Vu could be a single, and Act My Age, just to bring back that old school Katy Perry. Other than that, I don't know. I hope that the future singles hit at least within the top 10. So, obviously, because I love Katy so much. So please buy her albums and support the singles, stream the songs, watch the music videos, and, spread the word, request her songs on the radio if you want to hear them. But yeah, I'm happy with the singles she picked. The videos are really, really nice. I'm looking forward to seeing if the Swish Swish music video. I wonder what that's going to be like, because it is now confirmed as a single. Who knows, maybe the label might change their mind. But so far, I think that in terms of views on the channel for each specific song, Deja Vu might be a single. That's what I'm hinted to. Really, I'm guessing that's going to be the next single. But yeah, overall, I'm proud of Katy. I hope that she doesn't take a huge break again, because it was a long break. But I can totally understand. Maybe she has more songs stored for like an album that could be released next year, or late next year, or in 2 years. Because she did already release 3 singles really quickly, And obviously she has a lot on her plate. She has the tour, she has American Idol, and a bunch of promotions for those songs. So I hope she doesn't get burnt out. So maybe she has those huge songs that we're used to for another release, but I like the fact that she took a risk with this album. It has a vibe to it that you can listen to it like any time of the year, to be honest. While Teenage Dream is more of like a summer album, and I would say Prism is more like a winter, because it's filled with ballads, even though the singles were huge pop songs. And I'm really pissed that Walking on Air was not a single. But yeah, other than that, if you have any other questions, if I also made an unboxing of this, if you haven't watched that, and I'll make a collection video for Katy very soon. And yeah, please go out to buy the album. The Target version has 2 extra songs, and I'm shocked that she didn't include newer songs in the Japanese edition, because usually a lot of artists have exclusive songs for Japan, but she only has like a remix of Chain to the Rhythm. But yeah, please go out and get witness it for yourself. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Bye.